Even though I've had challenging times, this has definitely been the best year of my entire life. I've had better moments in my life, getting married, watching the birth of my two children, coming to faith in Christ. Definitely those moments are far better than anything we'll ever replicate now or in the future. But overall, this has been the best year of my life. And one of the things I attribute to that to is the fact that I finally came into just a wonderful state of collaboration in life, balance, flow. I finally realized what was best for me in terms of work schedule, workout schedule, investment into people and relationships, the types of clients that I wanted to work with, and all those things just became more and more clear. Welcome to Authentic Conversations. I'm your host, Ryan James Miller, and I believe the way to freedom, fulfillment, and success ultimately comes by living as the most authentic version of yourself. If you're ready to live the life you've dreamed of, you're in the right place. What's up, and welcome everybody to the final Authentic Conversations podcast for 2021. I cannot believe that we are another year in. It's crazy to think about the fact that over the course of the last 2 years, particularly, let's call it 18, 19 months of crazy, chaos, just a lot of unknown. At times, it felt like we were just drudging along, especially when we were significantly restricted from going out, from getting out, from spending time and engaging with other people. Man, there was days it just felt like they were going on forever. At the same time, I think back to the beginning of that period of time, March 2020, and I think of how fast and how far we have come. It's pretty crazy to think. I mean, time definitely flies. Definitely the older and older I've gotten. At 43, I feel the time moving faster than it ever has before. Watching my 19 and 12-year-old daughters grow up, time is going faster than it ever has before. Finding my grooves in business and enjoying myself as much as I have been, particularly this past year, which I'm going to talk about in just a couple of minutes. It just goes so fast. You know, it's like most people look forward to the weekends because the weekends are their free time of enjoyment, and they go by so quickly. You know, those 2 days go by faster than a half of a workday for some people. That's how I feel about my entire week. I'm very fortunate to be able to feel that way. Anyway, so all that to say, man, 2021 has flown by. It may not have felt like that for every single one of you or all the time, but here we are, very end of the year. And so I wanted to take just a couple of minutes. This isn't going to be a very long podcast, but I wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk you through my thoughts around reflecting on the year that I've had and kind of help you, guide you through reflecting on the year that you've had potentially, and then help you kind of set a foundation for what you're going to be doing going forward. Hopefully you've already thought about the new year. You've already started planning for the new year. You've maybe put some goals to paper, some strategies, some ideas, some targets, updated your vision board, whatever that may be. But I just wanted to kind of talk you through how I'm thinking as we're still in the final days of this new year. And I've definitely thought into 2022 and even 2023 as well. For now, we'll sit here. So, before I forget too, I wanted to say thank you. If you're listening right now, you have been part of just a fantastic journey for me of growth, particularly as it relates to this podcast. It was a couple of years of bumps and bruises and struggles all along the way, but little by little, we have continued to grow. And I say we because I've got great teammates here that work with me, full-time employees, and then I've got great partners that are helping to contribute to the success of this podcast. And so for everybody, on behalf of everybody, I want to say thank you. What started off as just kind of a passion project has definitely turned into just a wonderful opportunity to share stories, to help guide other people to become the best version of themselves. And so I'm just super thankful. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If you haven't yet, please subscribe anywhere that you're listening to this podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anything else for that matter. I post most of these, or they all go to YouTube, and most of the time we're taking video, just like I am right now, even though I'm solo. So you can watch it over there on YouTube. Go subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate that. All right, so let's just dig in. I want to just kind of reflect with you just on a few things for myself, and I want to help you think about how you can reflect on the year behind you, kind of realize the present moment, and then reinforce yourself moving into the future. So first up, reflection. I'm just going to kind of talk about a couple of things here. So the past year for me has been my best one I've ever had. That doesn't mean that I have not experienced hard days, frightening times, deep senses of concern in different moments. I mean, I think right now we're still even on the tail end of a season with somebody close to our family that has spent the last a month and change in the hospital in a coma. He's doing better, but it has been a slow road. It's not COVID related. It's something different than that. But, I have probably in my entire life never prayed for something as often and as hard as I did over this last season for this man. Just every day, multiple times a day, every time that I had a free moment or thought about it. And I'm not great at prayer. I don't pray often enough. I'm not as intentional as I should be. But for this, man, I was just begging God to work. I wept hard over this situation a couple of different times. There were definitely some very fragile moments. But even that, God's doing a work, and little by little, we seem to be moving in the right direction. If you know who I'm talking about or know the situation and you've been part of support and prayer for that, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, for my family and all those other people that are that are affected. But even though I've had challenging times, this has definitely been the best year of my entire life. I've had better moments in my life, getting married, watching the birth of my two children, coming to faith in Christ. Definitely those moments are far better than anything we'll ever replicate now or in the future. But overall, this has been the best year of my life. And one of the things I attribute to that is the fact that I finally came into just a wonderful state of collaboration in life, balance, flow. I finally realized what was best for me in terms of work schedule, workout schedule, investment into people and relationships, the types of clients that I wanted to work with, and all those things just became more and more clear. And so personally, that's just impacted me in so many ways. Like I've never felt better more consistently. I have had just amazing moments with my wife, with my kids. Even just this last week, I got to go have dinner at In-N-Out with my 12-year-old daughter. And we just sat down and talked about just some things going on in life. And I got to affirm some of just the amazing qualities in that young kid. Just to encourage her in some things that she can grow into the future, and just tell her how proud I was and how much I loved her. And there was many moments like that throughout the year. And so I'm just super thankful for how my life personally has been affected in so many different ways by just being really intentional about what I wanted, putting the right boundaries up, being really aligned in all areas of my life. When I think about business and reflect on the last year of business, boy, it's been amazing and challenging at the same time. My coaching and consulting business and speaking business has generated more revenue than it ever has in the last 10 years. By the way, I celebrated 10 years of business in November, and I'll be making some announcements just after the first of the year about how we're going to celebrate that in the new year. We were waiting for the holidays to get done. but it was very successful. I had a lot of new opportunities. I got to work with some pretty amazing clients on some pretty cool projects. So just all in all, professionally, my business has just done so well. And at the same time, I haven't made as much money this year as I have in previous years because I've been making a lot of investments. I was able to, and many of you have seen, heard, or know of Shannon. I was able to hire Shannon to come on full time. That was a huge blessing in and of itself. That was about 2 years in the making, but she has just been a huge gift to me, to my clients. She brings an amazing energy, a huge heart, so much intelligence and wisdom to so much of what we're doing just overall here and for our clients. And so I can't be thankful enough for the addition that she has brought to the team. Super thankful for my creative director, Ian. You guys have at least heard me talk about him, seen him pop in on a video from time to time, but just loved the journey that we're on from a content perspective. And he's really driven so much of that. He's more than just the guy that captures video. He's more than just the guy that edits video. He's really helping me to craft the right story to tell my clients and prospective clients. And as the result of that, we've seen a lot more engagement on video. We've seen a lot more engagement on content in general. And we've had a lot of fun recording content. If you haven't seen some of the burrito rating videos that we've done, was just fun stuff. Or me dressed in a onesie this last week in the local area talking about Christmas, and so a lot of that is just Ian's doing, and it's been super cool to just take some direction from him and learn from him. And we have a lot more coming. There's a lot more coming in the future there, and I'm really, really excited about that. When I think about the financial side of life and how what's happened over the last year, so I definitely said that my business generated more revenue than it had, and yet I made less money than I did because I was investing in things like people and some processes and some outside coaching and consulting for myself. Financially still was amazing in the sense that my family has saved more money in the last 12 months than we have in the previous 20 years of my wife and I being married. And I am so proud to be able to say that. For the first time in our lives, we have a 6-figure savings account, a near 6-figure investment account, and I'm not saying that for any other reason other than if you know my story, you know that just 8 years ago we had nothing, zero, absolutely nothing at all but ourselves. We lost our house, we lost every dollar that we had. We had very few dollars to our name, and we were scraping by. And so God has done an amazing work to restore a lot of the financial stability that we once had and foolishly lost, frankly. And so I'm just so thankful for that. And I just see an amazing road ahead there. I got some huge financial plans for 2022 and 3 and beyond. And they wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for the work that God has done in our lives through my business and through some other things to get me and to get us to the place that we're at. Relationally, I'm so thankful for so many different things that have happened to me over the last year with friendships. I've been playing golf with pretty much the same group of guys now for the last year on Friday mornings, and I've just loved the way that those relationships have developed. We've got a lot of fun. We're pushing each other, poking fun at each other, harassing each other. It's just been a great season of relationships like that. I've more deeply invested into some friendships that I had good friends with, or I had good friendships before, but I've just more deeply invested into them. And so thankful for the way that's happened. I joined a mastermind group of other Christian men that were leaders in their communities, leaders in their businesses. And that's been a huge blessing for me from a relationship standpoint, from accountability standpoint, from the drive to be the best person that I can possibly be. So that's been amazing. Spiritually, man, what a year it has been. After stepping down from pastoral leadership in 2020, I don't want to say I was flailing, but I was just trying to figure out what was next for me. And by way of an amazing local church that my family and I have joined, by way of just the encouragement and support of guys in my mastermind group and some close friends to me, my spiritual life is doing so well. And that doesn't mean that I'm nailing it. I'm coming up short in a lot of areas, but I've never felt a closer relationship to God. I've never felt more in tune with what God's calling on my life. I've never felt more free to speak of that, which is interesting because for 8 years as a pastor, I went through ebbs and flows of doing that, but now I just really feel the bold confidence to be able to do that and trust that God will land that message where it needs to be. So those are some of the things that I've been reflecting on, and I would encourage you to do the same thing through areas of your personal life, professional life, finances, relationships, and even spiritually. Reflect on past moments and just take note of what has gone on and what's been done in and through you. And if you have a hard time reflecting on those things, maybe one of the action items you want to take for next year is to start committing to a reflection journal. I think that it's great to kind of just notate highlights throughout the year so you can go back and look at them, because oftentimes we only remember the last couple of weeks or maybe the last couple of months, or maybe the high highs or low lows. But there's just so many things in between that have happened. So that's kind of just, my exercise of reflecting out loud to some degree. There's a lot more detail there. Definitely, I like to go through every single one of the goals or desires that I had, and the commitments that I made, to reflect on those and to see whether or not I achieved those, that I got to where I needed to. And if I didn't, then I want to be honest about why and figure out whether or not I want to continue on pursuing that. And if I do, what needs to change in order to get there. And then finally, I reflect on just who I am as a human being, what my kind of mission in life and purpose in life is. And I want to make sure that I'm still in alignment with myself, that all of my efforts personally and professionally are getting to where I want to go. And if not, what's off track and why. So that's kind of that time of reflection for me, and kind of stepping through that with you. And I would encourage you, if you're struggling to reflect even now on the past year, or you're looking for some guidance there, if you want to email me, ryan@ryanjamesmiller.com, I'd be happy to send you my guide to personal reflection, realization, and reinforcement. And it will do just that. It's a couple of pages of just walking you through that process that I take on reflection. It also gives you some opportunity to do some realization, which is kind of just looking at the present moment to see where you're at right now and what it looks like to other people that are staring in. And then that third area of reinforcement, we always talk about, okay, so what's next? What are my goals? Where do I want to go? What do I want to do? And that's important, but that should be done from a place of reinforcement of who you are. So once you reassess who you are through reflection and realization, you can reinforce your purpose, your passion, your principles, the things that you're strong in, that you most deeply desire, and figure out how you're going to move forward in getting it done. Then you can go through a goal setting exercise or something like that, which those can be super duper helpful as well. But before you do that, I would encourage you to reflect, realize, and reinforce who you are and what you are doing and what's been done in and through you over the past year. So anyway, that was just a little peek into some of the ways that I have reflected, and hopefully you've picked up on through the last 15, 18 minutes or something like that, some ways that you can do the same thing. Don't let the last year go by without learning from it. You have such a wonderful opportunity, and too often, particularly when we've had some difficulties, some challenges, some obstacles, we try and just wipe them away and move on. And I would encourage you to not do that. And then just to kind of highlight some of the things that are coming for me personally that could affect professionally. Some of you out there that are listening that either work with me or will continue or are desiring to work with me in the future. So I will be announcing the launch of the next Foundations to Freedom Coaching Academy for Men here in the next probably couple of weeks, targeting maybe a mid-February launch for the next group there that will be open to somewhere between 10 to 20. I haven't landed at a number, 10 to 20 men to all go through a 10-week coaching academy. And so that is a wonderful opportunity, men, for you to consider. And if you'd like to learn more about that, you can go to ryanjamesmiller.com to learn more about that. As a matter of fact, for some reason, I forgot my own URL. So it's ryanjamesmiller.com/F, the number 2F -academy. ryanjamesmiller.com/F2F-academy. You can learn more about that there. In addition to that, we've got some additional effort that we're making into building out a really significant sales platform for my sales clients, for sales leaders that I work with, and even organizations. I've built a pretty hefty sales playbook that will be available to everybody pretty soon. No cost or anything there, but just a framework that you can use. And then, as I've done for many clients in the past, sometimes they'll take pieces of that out for us to build together or work on, and so we're going to be doing that. More information will be coming on the TV show that I shared that I have had the opportunity to put a promo together for. So a reality TV show in the finance realm. You can go back into some of my content past and see what that was all about. But there's going to be some exciting news coming here in the next probably couple of months to what the next stages of that are going to look like. So I'm super pumped to be able to share that. So yeah, there's just a lot going on. I'm committing to writing the book finally that I've been thinking about writing for the last 2 years. I will be writing a book. I'm going to do that the right way, not the cheap or shortcut way. And so that will take probably 9 to 12 months, but I'll be sharing my journey of writing and working through that process with you all throughout the year. Beyond that, Merry Christmas. It's already passed. Happy New Year should be coming up by the time or within days of you listening to this. I am open to any feedback or questions that you have. Thank you if you are listening to this, if you've supported me in any way, if you've done business with me over the last year or in years past. If you're considering some of that in the future, I would love to speak with you after the first of the year and talk about some ways that I can help you to grow in your ability to become the best version of the man or woman that you desire to be. Whether that's as a business owner, a salesperson, a husband, a wife, whatever that may be, we can talk about some of the ways that I'm able to do that for my clients, and I'd be honored to share that with you. Beyond that, go have an amazing couple of days off and get ready to absolutely do everything you can to make 2022 the year that you have always dreamed of. Thank you so much. Be you, be happy, be authentic. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Authentic Conversations. If you are ready to live the life you've dreamed of, I'm here to help. Head to ryanjamesmiller.com/podcast to begin your journey. And if this episode impacted you in any way, pay it forward by sharing it with someone you know. I'm Ryan James Miller, and I'll see you next time on Authentic Conversations.